About 11 months ago, almost a year ago, I made a review 2 months later of owning the Sony A7 II, which I still think is an incredible camera. However, in today's video, we're going to be doing the 2 month review of the Sony A7 V, which now has become my absolute favorite camera of all time. Now, I'm also shooting on the A7 V right now that's filming me on the 35mm G Master lens. All right, let's get into the video. Now, I've owned the Sony A7 V for the last 2 months. I got it in late December last year, and honestly, this has become my main workhorse. Now, in a previous video, I mentioned that I had the FX3, I had the A9III, and I had 3 A7C2s. I obviously didn't need that many cameras, and in fact, all those cameras I just mentioned, I sold, and the A7 V now has pretty much replaced all the other cameras. The FX3 is gone, the A9III is gone, and all 3 of my Sony A7C2s are gone. Now, the best way to kind of mention the A7 V is like a bigger brother of the A7C2. I find it to be a much better camera overall, especially from the A7 IV. You've obviously got new features, better AF, and you've also got now the partially stacked sensor, which does make a big difference. Now, the price point, it's about 4,500 Australian dollars, which I think is not bad for the camera considering all the features that you get. To me, this is pretty much 90% of an A1 II, only missing a few features that I would say, such as the 120 FPS if you need that frames per second. I don't personally. I think even 30 is more than enough, even maybe overkill for my personal needs. And also the 8K recording, which again, I don't need. I'd much prefer 4K or if there was a 6K option, but the 8K, I just think it's unnecessary and the file sizes just get overall too big. Otherwise, honestly, this pretty much has all the same features as the A9 II. That's why I say it's pretty much like a baby A9 II, and I would prefer 2 of these over the A1 II, and that's just me personally. I just think it's an absolute beast of a camera for what it is, and I honestly, as a hybrid shooter, I couldn't be happier with this setup. Now, I came from the A7S III. When I moved from Canon to Sony because of the overheating issues when I first had the Canon R5 and the Canon R6, I decided to go Sony, and the first Sony camera that I had was the A7S III, which at the time was my favorite camera of all time. It made me want to go out and shoot again, and I really loved it. Then I upgraded to the FX3, moved to the A7 IV, and then the A7C2, and then the A9III, and then eventually came to the A7 V, which honestly now, out of all the cameras I've owned, this has to be by far my favorite camera. Now, previously before this, the A7C2, as you can watch here, was my favorite camera. And I still recommend it today if you guys are a bit more on a budget. It's still a phenomenal camera, and I do believe I'll probably get one again in the near future. Just as a backup and something when I want to shoot with a smaller setup, I'll definitely have that in my arsenal because I really, really love that camera. Now, in terms of features, we still got the 4K 50/60. Now, there's obviously a small crop unless you use something called priority angle. I always leave it on, and what happens when you leave it on? It pretty much removes noise reduction. So there's no noise reduction happening in camera, which personally for me, I like. I like to have that control, and also I lose that, I don't have any more crop, which is amazing. So for me, priority angle is always on, and that way there might be a little bit of noise, but honestly, from what I've seen, I haven't noticed much noise at all, but at least I can clean it up on my own, and it's not cleaning up in camera, which is a great thing. Now, if you leave priority angle off, there will be a slight crop, and it will clean the noise in camera. So something to keep in mind. Now, it also has 4K 120 and 100p, but there is a crop on this. It's like a 1.5 times crop, but to be honest, I don't mind. It's nice that we have it, and personally, I don't really live in 4K 120 or 100, so I don't really bother too much with it. I'm more 25 and 50p for most of my work, so I'm pretty happy there. Now, you also have the 5mm dot EVF, which a lot of people complained about, saying they wish it was more resolution or whatnot. Personally, for me, I think it's fantastic. Now, I also have this great accessory for the EVF. It just helps a lot more with the eye. It's very comfortable, and I find it to be plenty of resolution, especially when I'm outside and whatnot. So I honestly live by this, and I'm very happy with it. The A9III obviously had a higher EVF, great, but to me, I didn't really notice a big difference from the 5mm to the 9mm, and that's just me personally, so I've been really happy with it. Now, in terms of SD cards, I generally use the V30s or the V60s. For all the settings that I need, they run plenty good. If I need 4K 50, 4K 25, I can easily run them on the V30s and V60s. I also have CF Express A's and I have V90s if I needed the 4K 120 or I want to use the SNQ mode. Now, to tell the truth, since I've owned this, I've shot so many stuff. I've shot weddings, corporate, commercial, branding, and they've all been on the A7 V. And the A7 V has served me absolutely incredibly for photos, for video, for reels, you name it. This camera pretty much does it all. I've also noticed a big improvement on the battery life on these. This is much more efficient now with the new processor over the A7 IV, the FX3, the A7C2, all of them. And I would have thought with all the AI added features and everything inside it, that it would drain the battery more. In fact, it's actually draining it less. I can run it for hours. Like I'm talking at least about 2 hours and 20 minutes in 4K 25. Now on 1080, however, you can almost get about 3 hours of recording, which is crazy, guys. You can always get something like a power bank if you want additional power, but I find with these batteries, you got plenty of juice for most of the time. Now, one of the lenses I absolutely live and swear by is the 28-70 f2. I love it so much, but I ended up getting 2 of them. Yes, I've actually got 2 of them, and they pretty much live on my A7 Vs. I absolutely love them. They're one of the most workhorse and best lenses that I've ever owned, and honestly, I'm so happy with them, and I couldn't be more blessed. I think this is one of the best setups you can get for your camera rig. Now let's talk about the photography side. 33 megapixel partially stacked sensor, guys. Absolutely incredible. The dynamic range has improved a lot over the A7 IV, and it really does show. The photos are absolutely incredible. They're sharp, they're crisp, and they're highly detailed. And I find 33 megapixels to be the sweet spot. I don't need 50 megapixels. I don't need 61 megapixels. I think 33 is plenty, even for printing if you wanted to print. So I've been really, really happy with the photography side on this. It is absolutely incredible. I normally shoot on the high burst mode, but I haven't even used the pre-capture that much or the 30 FPS because like I said, I don't really have a need for it. So it's there if I need it, which is great, but I haven't had a need for it. But the pre-capture, let's talk about pre-capture for a moment. Pre-capture is fantastic and you can actually set it up to 1 second before. So what it pretty much does is when you half click the shutter, not even full click, it's already taking frames from a second before the action happened. Now, this is going to be great for wedding photographers, people who are into wildlife photography. This is where this camera is really going to shine, and that pre-capture option is going to be a great one for you guys if that's something that you really want to use. And if you're doing stuff like that where the moment is really essential and you're not going to get another shot, I would definitely have pre-capture on. You can capture up to 1 second before. The only thing is the files are going to get big. Just keep that in mind, guys. 30 frames per second, 1 second before. It's going to be, you're going to be pumping with a lot of files. So just keep that in mind. Now, in terms of video, let's talk about video, especially the dynamic range. I find the dynamic range to be absolutely phenomenal. For the work that I do, especially being downsampled from a 7K sensor, the image is sharp, it's crispy. I mean, there's not much more I can say. I shoot in S-Log3 for all my stuff and the grading looks beautiful. We have 10-bit color as usual, and I find the codecs to be absolutely amazing. I normally stick with XAVCS. There is obviously All-I as well, but I find with All-I, the files get too big and I don't see any tangible difference to make it worthwhile to shoot on that over XAVCS. So XAVCS, 10-bit 4K 25p, honestly, you guys are laughing. You're going to have a great time. The dynamic range is fantastic. There's no complaint on the video side. Everything looks incredible. Just make sure you expose correctly, and that's pretty much it. Now, I also wanted to talk about why I sold my FX3 and the A9III for the A7 V. One of the main reasons, and you guys may have heard about it, is the dual native ISO on the A7 V. It's ISO 800, and the second dual native ISO is 8000. Now, 8000 for me is more than enough. The FX3 having 12,800 was great, but a lot of times it was overexposed. You'd have to crank up the shutter or chuck an ND filter. 8,000 I find to be a great spot. However, this can easily go to 12,800, even 16,000 with minimal noise, guys. It is that good. I'm so impressed how good the low light on the A7 V is. And when I saw that with a dual native ISO being 8,000, I knew right away the FX3 was going for sale and I was getting the A7 V. I mean, think of it like this. When I had the A7C2 and had the FX3, I was using the A7C II more than I was using the FX3. Again, it might be because I'm more of a hybrid shooter. I do kind of 50-50 of photo and video. I really do enjoy both. And maybe that's why I kind of stuck with the A7C II. But now having 8000 ISO over 3200 on the A7C II is a dream come true. And like I said, I can easily go to 12,800, even 16,000 and still get pretty clean image from the sensor. I'm laughing. I'm really, really happy. So that was a no-brainer for me. And overall, I've been so happy with my decision. There's no regret at all about selling my FX3. I love it. And especially with the EVF, I'm a big fan of the EVF now, and I can't really be without the EVF. So that's another big one. Now, I just wanted to talk about final thoughts, I guess, of the camera. I mean, everything's really good. There's not really any negatives, to tell you the truth, that I can think of that I can mention about the A7 V. Overall, it is just such a phenomenal camera. I'm trying to think of anything negative to say, and really there isn't. I mean, a lot of people complained about it not having open gate, but for me, while open gate would have been fantastic, the file sizes would have been a lot larger. You would have to shoot in 7K. There's a lot of things that I feel would be unnecessary, and I feel like the cons would outweigh the pros. So for me, I don't think it's a major deal. You can still crop in on the 4K image to vertical. I find it more than enough for socials. I don't think it's a big deal. It'll be nice maybe in a future update, but I don't think it's necessary. Otherwise, besides that, I really do think this is absolutely the near perfect camera as a hybrid camera that you can get. Like in terms of value, 4.5K Australian, I mean, it's honestly amazing. And like I said, it's pretty much 90% of an A1 II. It's a mini A1 II. And if you ask me which one I would prefer, even if you had one camera, I would still pick this over the A1 II personally, even if you had the money. I mean, just in terms of money for value, I really think the A7 V is absolutely incredible. Unless you need that 50 megapixel sensor, unless you need 8K recording, this camera right here will do pretty much everything the A1 II does. Overall, I think this is an incredible camera. I definitely recommend it, and I am calling it the best camera of 2026 because, guys, I mean, I have no words. It really is the near perfect camera. I mean, I guess never is a perfect camera, but this gets pretty darn close. Anyway, that's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. And as always, I will catch you guys on the next one. Stay safe and be well.